Now, close to 100,000 people had registered as voters by the close of business yesterday. This is according to IEBC Chief Executive Officer Ezra Chiloba, who also confirmed that 68 BVR kits failed on the first day of the ongoing mass voter registration exercise. He was updating the media on the progress of the exercise.
Registration, the mass voter registration, which we said is the last registration campaign we're going to hold before the next election. We have witnessed a sense of enthusiasm among Kenyans who want to register as voters, and this is a commendable attitude, and we wish to thank every Kenyan who is looking forward to have a successful registration campaign. And as we have said before, building a better democracy requires the effort of all of us as Kenyans. Now, from an operational point of view, on the first day, we got a lot of media reporting in terms of BVR kit functionalities. We want to just also put on record that we deployed 7,793 kits across the country, excluding Huduma centers. And from the data we've received so far, only 68 kits reported cases of malfunction, and that is less than 1% of all the kits that we deployed across the country. So in other words, we're saying more than 99% of kits performed well on the first day, and the challenges that were actually experienced with respect to the 1% of the kits were also expected, given that these BVR kits were actually purchased 5 years ago. And with the time, most of these challenges are likely to be faced. So what we also want to assure the country is that the Commission has reserved a number of kits to work as backups. Whenever there is total failure of the kit performing in a specific place, we'll be able to deploy another kit. In addition, as we had said before, this time around we recruited 2 ICT support assistants to provide this support whenever there are challenges with the kits. And some of the things, of course, we're likely going to face, given the age of the BVR kits that we have, the issues around power management. And with power management, we have the internal batteries as well as the external batteries. So in the event that, of course, the external batteries are working as backups, and in some cases, we're relying much more on those batteries. So what the Commission is trying to ensure is to have, as much as possible, all the kits on full power supply in the course of the day, during the registration period. We're also acquiring additional batteries for some of the kits that we think, especially for far-flung areas, northeastern and eastern region, as well as North Rift in Turkana, because you need a constant supply of power in those particular areas. Again, we want to underscore the point that during this exercise, we are seeking to register persons who never registered as voters between 2012 and 2016, as well as people who have recently acquired national identification cards and are of voting age. Requirements for registration: again, you must be 18 years of age. You must have an original national identification card or a valid Kenyan passport, and you must present yourself physically at the registration center because we want to take your biometric features, and in this case, the fingerprints. And there was a question around the use of waiting cards. You should also be reminded that the use of waiting cards for purposes of registration is no longer valid. We do not use waiting cards in the registration of voters. It was there prior to the 2013 general elections, but following the amendments that were effected last year, this provision was actually removed. That was section 5 of the Elections Act. It removes that particular provision that requires people with waiting cards to register as voters. And the logic is very simple. There's no identification number on the waiting card. And yet you are telling the same person that when you show up at the polling station, you must show up with the identification document that you use to register. And this, you show up with the identification document that you use to register. So if you show up with a waiting card, there'll be some disconnect.